Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Yashoda Damodara Ji ki, Jai Shri Krishna Balaram Ji ki, Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maya ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. So thank you very much, Puneet Prabhu and Swati Mataji, for having us over. Thank you. So I understand that this program has two parts, or rather, it has two reasons for it. One is, of course, the auspicious month of Damodar, and the other is it's a housewarming program, right? Yeah. You know, the word housewarming is very strange because it means you warm the house. What it really means actually is that, you know, when a person actually gets a new house, the house becomes warm in the sense of it being friendly, congenial, loving, when you invite people. And you invite people of like-mindedness. That's why we call friends and devotees and those who are thinking alike. We call people who are well-wishers. So that's a very important part of this program. So I just want to thank you for having us over. The other thing that's also very important is we are in the middle of a very auspicious month, and this month is known as the month of Damodar. And in the month of Damodar, it is 2 weeks before Diwali and 2 weeks after Diwali. And this whole period is considered extremely important because this is the time when we have the opportunity to remember the most wonderful pastime of Lord Damodar. Lord Damodar is another name for Krishna. And it actually means someone who is actually, the Lord is actually bound by the ropes of love. And the beauty is Krishna is binding the entire world with his potency. And yet in this pastime, he's being bound by his mother. So this is a very important pastime that we should remember. Now, the other thing that's also very important in this pastime is that this entire pastime takes place on one day. It is on the eve of Diwali, right? No, actually it's in the morning of Diwali. That's the time of the pastime. And the reason why Vaishnavas speak about this pastime for the entire month is because the more we hear about this pastime, the more purified we actually become. So this is a very important pastime for us to remember. Please also know that whenever we speak about Krishna, any form of, any pastime of Krishna, and it doesn't only have to be during the Damodar month, anytime, we are always going to become purified. This is very important. In Bhagavatam, this is known as Jagat Pavitram, Praganita Karhichit. In the first canto, 5th chapter, I think it's the 10th verse, 1, 5, 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narada Muni tells to Vyasadeva a very important point. He says actually that the chanting of the holy name is so powerful that it actually reverberates not just within the place where we are chanting, but throughout the universe. So that is why it is known as Jagat Pavitram Praganita Karhichit. Very important. So we must always remember that when we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, not only are we benefiting, like all of us here are benefiting, but actually everyone else who's hearing it is also benefiting. Those who are not hearing it, they may not realize it, but the sound of the holy name is very powerful. It reverberates through the universe, and it has a very subtle effect on all of us. So that's important. So I'm sure in Mandarin Gardens, for example, as we were chanting, many neighbors would have heard us also. Puneet Prabhu, are your neighbors all right? Have you informed them that you're having a program?
No, probably there is no neighbor. This full
Okay.
block only
But
one
she has
Okay.
come.
Yeah, because I always advise devotees, inform your neighbors beforehand. You should give them prasadam also beforehand, because they may not be used to sudden, for them it's noise in the morning on a Sunday, and it becomes difficult for them. So my suggestion is, if we start the kirtan later, we close the door. Yeah, but you let them know, because you don't want to start on a bad note. It's always important for us to know, right? Yeah, so I always tell everybody, if you do Damodar programs, don't assume this is India, where everybody is very happy with you chanting. And even in India, sometimes people make noise, right? I've had experience of that. Here you're talking about people who are not even of, similar culture. They may not understand or appreciate it. And instead of bringing them closer to Krishna, we bring them further from Krishna. So this is not the way for us to preach, actually, right? We should always be very congenial about presenting Krishna consciousness. So, on the morning of Diwali, Mother Yashoda wakes up, and when she wakes up in the morning, her first thought goes to Krishna. This is from Krishna book. And in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada says that actually the first thing Mother Yashoda does when she wakes up is that she adorns herself very nicely. Because it is Diwali, it is very auspicious, and also because of one very other important point. In Vrindavan Dham, all the devotees of the Lord, they did everything for the pleasure of Krishna. And they continue to do so. Which means any activity that they would take up, it would be meant to please Krishna. So if Mother Yashoda woke up in the morning and she dressed herself up, it was actually to please Krishna. In the material world, we do it to please ourselves. But sometimes we also do it to please those whom we love. So it is not something that we cannot identify with. So this point is very important. Mother Yashoda wore, a very beautiful yellowish gold sari. And that's the description of her in Bhagavatam. She had nice malati flowers as garlands. She put flowers in her hair. She had very nice earrings and bangles. So Diwali you dress up, but she dressed up for Krishna. And after dressing up, when she came out, she realized that all her servants in the household, they were all very engaged because they had so many other services to do. The most important service for the morning was actually to churn butter for Krishna. That was what she wanted to do. So she was looking and she realized that all the servants were engaged. So she thought to herself, why should I wait for anyone to do something for Krishna? Better I do it for Krishna. And this is the first important point that we learn from the Leela. You cannot outsource bhakti. This is a very important point that we learn. Sometimes, in this material world, you delegate, and we tell you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. But in devotional service, it is a very important point that we ourselves must endeavor for Krishna. You cannot farm it out and say, you do bhakti and I will take the results. It doesn't work that way. So Mother Yashoda did not think that she needed someone else to do something for Krishna. Whenever you have an opportunity to do it for Krishna, you do it. And if you have an opportunity to engage others, then also do it. So Mother Yashoda was hardly lazy, even though she was a queen, literally speaking, and she had so many other servants. She could easily have told someone, you do the butter, I will attend to Krishna. But she knew that Krishna loves butter. In fact, she was always worried, because she was worried that not only did Krishna love butter, but he loved it so much that he would not only take butter from his own house, but very often he would take butter from everybody else's household. In fact, Mother Yashoda, Prabhupada writes, was worried that it is so amazing that we are making the best butter. Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj had the best cows, they had the greenest grass, and they had the best utensils to produce the best butter. And yet Krishna every day would go to somebody else's house and he would take butter there. He wouldn't take it, he would steal it. He didn't ask for permission, he took it. But why did he do that? Because our acharyas tell us, actually, frankly, for Krishna, there is no need for him to take permission from anyone. Because whatever that you think belongs to you, actually already belongs to him. So when Krishna takes something from us, even in our material life, it is not that we must say, Krishna, how could you take this away from me? Or Krishna, how could you steal this away from me? You gave me a good job, now you've taken it away from me. You gave me a good house, now you've taken it away from me. We cannot think that way. We should actually think that whatever that we have even now doesn't belong to us. Our talent for playing may not belong to us. Our singing doesn't belong to us. If Krishna wants to take it one day, he can take it. Because ultimately, everything belongs to him. So this is the mood in which Mother Yashoda approached the churning of the butter. This is very important. It looked like an ordinary activity, but from a spiritual perspective, it is so deep in making us understand what devotional service is. So therefore, Mother Yashoda started churning butter. And you all know that in the traditional way of churning butter, it is a laborious task. It takes time, it is very difficult, and so Mother Yashoda was perspiring. Bhagavatam tells us that her sari and her dress and everything that she had put on, right? Initially, they were all very well held, but as she continued churning, they became disheveled. But even though they were disheveled, even though Mother Yashoda appeared to be perspiring, she was endeavoring, it was laborious for her, Bhagavatam tells us she was smiling. She was not feeling the effects of the effort in her devotional service. Why? Because the object of her concentration while she performed all this endeavor was actually her beloved child, Krishna. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Brahmaji is told by Krishna in the second canto, 9th chapter, 35th verse, second chapter, second verse of Chatushloka. Rite yad pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani. Tad vidvan atmano mayam yatha baso yatha tamaha. That means that anything that appears to be valuable in this material world, if it is not connected to me, O Brahma, know please that it has no value. This is a very important point that we must understand. Mother Yashoda was performing an ordinary material action, just churning butter. Thousands of people do that. But because she was doing it in such a way that she was doing it to please Krishna, then that ordinary activity became of great value. We may have something very valuable with us, but if that valuable thing has no connection to Krishna, then instead of elevating our consciousness, yatha baso yatha tamaha, it will degrade our consciousness. That is why whatever that we have, whatever that is given to us, it is not belonging to us, it is actually borrowed. Krishna by his mercy is giving it to us. Punit Prabhu and Swati Mataji, they, by Krishna's mercy, they've got a house. And now they're warming the house, so to speak, by inviting Krishna into the house. That's why you see the beautiful deity of Yashoda and Damodara. And I tell you, actually, this deity is only meant to come to the temple, right? That's the golden rule. But yesterday, somehow, we forgot to take the deity from the temple to the home. And the deity stayed there. Then I asked Dipanshu Prabhu if he could take the deity. Then this morning, he texted me and asked me, shall I bring the deity here so you can collect the deity? And I thought, yes, this is the best time. Then we thought, since deity is coming here anyway, so why doesn't the deity give us darshan? So nobody planned for this, you see. So when I called Punit Prabhu, he said, Prabhu, deity is ready. But that was his deity. This is the deity coming from the temple. So if Krishna wants something, because the devotee is sincere, then he will reciprocate. So Mother Yashoda was very sincerely churning butter, but she was not finding it difficult. It was difficult, but she could tolerate it because she was doing it for Krishna. So we also have to endure the difficulties as devotees. We must endure difficulties as devotees. If devotees cannot endure difficulties, we are not devotees. Because the materialist is very, very impatient in material life. But the devotee has so much patience because he or she knows that whatever that is coming by the arrangement of Krishna. So as Mother Yashoda was churning butter, she was remembering Krishna. And this is the greatness of the gopis. Don't forget, Mother Yashoda by definition is a gopi. She's an elderly gopi, but she is a gopi. And you know, Bilva Mangal Thakur says the nature of gopis is very nice. Grahe grahe gopavadhu kadambe sarve militva samavapya yogam punyani namani patanti nityam dadamo daramadaveti. So Bilva Mangal Thakur says that grahe grahe, in every house, in the evenings, the gopis would come together with their families and they would all gossip. But they would gossip about Krishna. In material world, we all come together and gossip, but there is no Krishna. And therefore, that gossip binds us to the transcendental gossip. It frees us because everybody is only talking about Krishna. So Mother Yashoda was only remembering Krishna and therefore she was happy. And because she remembered Krishna, Mother Yashoda had the good fortune of knowing that she was remembering Krishna, and Krishna was in the other room and he was fast asleep at that time. He was a very little boy, And Bhagavatam tells us he did not even have the language to express himself. So what he did was, Krishna immediately came out. Now Bhagavatam tells us that Krishna came out because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he knew immediately what Mother Yashoda was doing. So he came out to reciprocate with her. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamiyaham. Krishna always reciprocates with the devotee. To the extent that you have time for Krishna, to that extent Krishna always has time for you. You cannot complain that why Krishna doesn't have time for me. We must inspect ourselves. What are we doing for Krishna? Have we really put aside time for Krishna? Have we prioritized Krishna? Then of course Krishna will reciprocate. So devotee doesn't blame Krishna. Devotee always does what we call introspection. We look to our own activities instead of looking to Krishna's activities. So immediately Krishna came out and he reciprocated with Mother Yashoda. He pulled her sari and indicated to her that he wanted milk because he was thirsty. Mother Yashoda stopped churning butter immediately and she put down the butter, the equipment she was using. She sat down and put Krishna on her lap. And after putting him on her lap, she started feeding him. And she started feeding him, Bhagavatam says, she was a picture of affection and love because she was so happy. This was the culmination of her joy and her perfection. One other thing that's very important, you can come forward, yes. One other thing that's very important is, Mother Yashoda was churning butter, no doubt. But churning butter was not the goal. Please remember that. The goal was that the butter would be pleasing for Krishna. So the moment Krishna came out and asked for milk, Mother Yashoda did not tell Krishna, wait, I must finish churning the butter. You have to wait. No, she didn't do that. Because she was not attached to the designation of finishing the butter churning. She was attached to whatever that she could do to please Krishna. So if Krishna wanted milk immediately, she dropped everything and she started giving milk to Krishna. This is a very important point. It's a subtle point for devotees. Sometimes devotees, we do a service, but we do it because we want perfection to satisfy our senses. I want to do something. I want to do a flower arrangement that's so perfect. Everybody should praise it. Everybody should think, what a high standard this is. This must be the greatest program we've ever been. That is wrong. That is a material designation. Rupa Goswami describes that as upadhi, right? Upadhi. Upadhi means we take a designation. So Mother Yashoda was not attached to the designation of churning butter. She was only attached to whatever Krishna wanted. Therefore, Bhagavatam also says that a devotee is always flexible and adaptable in nature. Anything that Krishna wants that is a change, we are ready to change. If it means it pleases Krishna, we will drop everything to change something to please Krishna. And Mother Yashoda did that. And so she fed Krishna milk. But while she was giving milk to him, she had put on the stove in the kitchen a pot of milk that was already threatening to boil over. She had done that because the milk was meant for Krishna, right? But now she had a dilemma. If she went to pick up the pot and save the milk, it would mean that she would have to disrupt her activity of feeding Krishna milk. And generally when babies are disrupted from feeding, they become grumpy, grouchy, they're not so happy. But then Mother Yashoda was thinking, the milk is also meant for Krishna. So let me do one thing. I'll quickly put down Krishna, quickly run into the kitchen, quickly turn off the stove and quickly come back. And she thought she could do it. Now the moment she put Krishna down, Krishna decided to exhibit his transcendental pastime of being angry. Sometimes people say, how can devotees be angry? How can God be angry? But anger by itself is not a problem. The problem is in material world, anger is very often the symptom of sense gratification. Anger is very often the symptom of pride. In the material world, we become angry when we are slighted. We become angry when we think someone has ignored us, someone has not done something for us. But Krishna decided to display anger because as a little boy, any little child who's put down without milk will become angry. He would throw a tantrum. And so Krishna decided, let me exhibit that pastime as a child. Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna, in whatever role he was in Vrindavan, he acted as the perfect child, the perfect son, he acted as the perfect king, he acted as the perfect supreme personality of Godhead, the perfect friend to Arjuna. He was always perfect. So as a child, one of the great perfections of a little child is throwing tantrums. It's part of being a child. So Krishna became very angry Bhagavatam says his face became reddish, his lips were already reddish, and he decided, let me punish my mother for putting me down. So he picked up the pot of milk and he picked up a stone and he threw it on the pot. And knowing Krishna being very strong, the pot broke and all the butter that was being churned, it just began spilling out. Krishna realized now that he would be in trouble. And that's how it is with children, isn't it? They do something, actually not only children, adults also have the same problem. We do something and then realize the consequences of it later. Then we are in trouble. But children more often. So then he realized that he would be in trouble with his mother. He decided, better I don't stay around, better I run away. And so that's what he did. He ran away. Now just before he ran away, Krishna thought, since I already broke the pot and there's so much butter, why don't I steal some butter and then I run away? It's like thieves, they're going to be caught. Let me just, enjoy the loot and then I'll be caught. And Krishna ran away. Mother Yashoda comes back thinking Krishna is peacefully lying down. But to her shock, Krishna is completely absent. And she sees a mess in front of her. Butter has been spilled, the pot has been broken, and now Mother Yashoda is smiling to herself, Prabhupada writes. Why is she smiling to herself? Because Prabhupada says in Krishna book that Mother Yashoda thought this boy Krishna is very intelligent. He knows that if he stayed on after breaking the butter, he would be in trouble. So he has run away. But today I must discipline him. Mother Yashoda was determined. It's been too long, too many complaints about him stealing from others, too many times him breaking pots of milk. Today I must actually discipline him. So Mother Yashoda decided the best way to discipline Krishna is to pick up a stick, and she started walking. It wasn't difficult to find Krishna because he had stepped in the butter, and so his footprints were there. In Diwali we have this tradition that very often we emulate the footprints of Krishna in the house. Many households they do that, especially if you come from Pushti Marg, you will know that this is really a part of their tradition actually. And that comes from this pastime because Krishna stepped on butter and then he walked away. And so Mother Yashoda followed the footprints and she went right into the store. In the store, I think the ceiling was as high as this. She had placed all the pots of butter hanging so that it will be out of reach of little Krishna. But she saw an amazing sight. She was standing by the door unseen and she saw an amazing sight. She saw Krishna standing on a pot of mota, on a mota. You all know the mota, right? If you see the deity of Krishna there, you will see that he's tied to a mota. So the mota was standing up, Krishna was elevated, standing on the mota, and he was actually taking a stick and he was breaking the pot of butter. And butter was flowing. And as it was flowing, Krishna was taking butter, but not only was he taking it for himself, Bhagavatam says, he was taking it for his best friends. And all his friends there were the monkeys. The monkeys of Vrindavan are very famous. Besides being very mischievous, and in modern times, the monkeys are very quick to take things that belong to you, like glasses, for example, right? And you have to bargain with them, and then you may get it back, but it will be in very bad condition. These monkeys, they are very special souls. Srila Prabhupada writes and speaks in lectures that the monkeys in Vrindavan are actually great sadhus who somehow or another at some point of time, they could not complete their elevation. And so somewhere there was some fall down. But because they had spent so much of their life in austerity of Krishna, or they were residing in Vrindavan at that time when there was a fall down, Krishna gives them a chance to come back as monkeys so that they can continue to be in Vrindavan. So when you see monkeys in Vrindavan, don't treat them as monkeys, they're quite different. But these particular monkeys, Rupa Goswami tells us, are very different. These monkeys were eating from the hands of Krishna. They were taking butter and Krishna was doing prasadam distribution to all of them. No sponsors on that day, but he was just feeding everyone. Actually, the sponsor was Yashoda Mata, right? But he was feeding everyone. He was feeding everybody and they were all very happy. And Mother Yashoda thought this is just a mischievous act between a boy who is very much like a monkey and a monkey who is very friendly with the boy. But the acharyas tell us this is a much deeper pastime. These monkeys are the same monkeys who serve Lord Ram, and they were known at that time in Ramayana as the Vanaras. They were the great monkeys who actually came together under the able leadership of Sugriva, and they defeated Ravana's army under the guidance of Lord Ram. When Lord Ram became so pleased at this wonderful exhibition of devotion by the monkeys, he actually asked them for a boon. whatever you ask from me, take it. You can ask for riches, you can ask for wealth, you can ask for anything, long life, I will give it to you. But the monkeys, they are devotees. They said, my Lord, we don't want anything from you. The only thing we want from you is that every time every time you descend into this world, you please allow us the opportunity to serve you. This is a beautiful point. That the monkey said that if we want anything from you, it is that give us the opportunity to serve you. And so Lord Ram then gave them that benediction. This is an important point about Krishna. In whatever form Krishna comes, whether he is Lord Ram, whether he is Krishna, Krishna never forgets the desire of a devotee to serve him. Please remember that. If you have a desire to serve Krishna, somehow or another, Krishna will fulfill it. But you must develop that desire. And that desire must be unmotivated. It cannot be motivated by other material considerations. These monkeys had no material considerations except to serve Krishna. So except to serve Lord Ram. So when Lord Ram came back millions of years later as Krishna, he did not forget, because these same Vanaras came to Vrindavan as the monkeys. And in this pastime, Krishna fulfilled their desire to serve him. Except that in this pastime, Krishna not only allowed the monkeys to always serve him as his playmate, but in this particular Leela, he wanted to go one step further. He took the opportunity to feed them so that he could actually reciprocate with them. Because Lord Ram in Ramayana said that I cannot repay this debt to you. Just like the gopis were told by Krishna in the 10th canto that I cannot repay my debt to you. Let your own mercy be your own mercy. And in the same way, the Vanaras were given that exalted position in Krishna Leela. So this is the greatness of Krishna. Now the moment the monkeys were eating and having a great time, and they saw Mother Yashoda standing quietly with a stick at the corner, they all vanished. Loyalty or no loyalty, they all vanished. And once they vanished, only Krishna was left. Krishna's back was to the door. And Bhagavatam says, even before Krishna turned, he knew why the monkeys had run off. When Krishna turned and confirmed that it was Mother Yashoda, he became very frightened. He got off the motor. Mother Yashoda thought he would run towards her, but instead he ran away from her. And now Mother Yashoda had to chase Krishna. So Mother Yashoda starts chasing Krishna. And as she runs, she's thinking, it's going to be very easy for me to catch Krishna. But just when she's about to catch Krishna, Krishna is just 1 meter ahead of her. Just when she thought she's about to catch Krishna's dhoti, he's just half a meter ahead of her. And for the whole morning, remember this is Diwali morning, for the whole morning Mother Yashoda is running. Now in the beginning of the day, Mother Yashoda was laboriously churning. In the middle of the day, she's laboriously running. Endeavor, endeavor, endeavor. A devotee's mood and reciprocation with Krishna is always based on endeavor. In Bhagavatam, it is known as Granatascha Swachestitam, 285 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Granatascha Swachestitam. Swa means we must put our own endeavor. Then only will Krishna reciprocate. You cannot sentimentally say, oh, Krishna is in my heart, I don't have to do anything. That is not going to work. If you really love someone, you will put in the effort. Now, Punit Prabhu called all of you. You cannot say, Punit Prabhu, you're in my heart, I don't have to come for the program, just send prasadam over. It's not going to work out. Why should he send prasadam over? You have to come here for prasadam, isn't it? That is the labor of love. So that is why we are here today. So therefore, always remember, as devotees, don't take for granted this thing that Krishna is there, he will give me mercy. We have to work, and then his mercy is coming. So Mother Yashoda was running after Krishna, but she was trying to catch Krishna with her own will and her own strength, and she could not. Finally, she gave up. At the point of giving up, she surrendered to Krishna. This surrender is very important, Sharanam. But who to surrender is more important, Sharanyam. One who is worthy of shelter is one whom we must surrender to. So she surrendered to her son, who is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what did he do? The moment he saw that Mother Yashoda said, Krishna, I cannot run after you. I thought I could catch you. Kindly please stop so that I can catch you. And when Krishna heard that from his mother, he allowed himself to be caught. And this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom demons are running after, but they cannot catch him. And yet his mother could catch him. This is the greatness of devotee and Krishna. So after catching him, Mother Yashoda decided, now I have little time left. Diwali is already halfway through. I need to do work in the kitchen. But Krishna, you are so restless. I will now bind you. I'm going to tie you for a while I finish my household chores. So thinking that way, Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, Mother Yashoda brought Krishna to the mota. And when she caught Krishna and she put him near the mota, she realized one thing about Krishna. Krishna, when he was caught, was actually crying. And he was crying in fear. And this is an amazing sight, because in Bhagavatam, Kunti Mata remembers this. She remembers this in her prayers. In the first canto, 8th chapter, she remembers this. And she's wondering, how is it that Krishna, who is feared by fear personified, and yet Krishna himself is fearful of his mother? How is that possible? Mother Yashoda says, Mother Kunti says, Vimohati Bir. Vimohati Bir means I'm completely bewildered. I cannot understand this. How is it that the demons are very, very fearful of Krishna? Kamsa was fearful of Krishna. Shishupal was fearful of Krishna. Jarasan was fearful of Krishna. In Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, when they finally saw the Lord as Varaha and Narsingadev, they also became fearful. And yet Krishna is fearful of a very, very simple Mother Yashoda, who's not like Bhadrakali or who's not like Kali Mata. She's just very peaceful. And yet he is very fearful of her. And Bhagavatam says his fear was exhibited in his shaking. He was crying and shaking. His anklets, his bracelets, his shark-shaped earrings, they were all shaking because he was shaking. Kalilanjana Sambramaksham. Bhagavatam tells us Kalilanjana Sambramaksham. Whatever mascara that he had applied, kajal, it was also flowing because he was crying. That much crying there was. So he couldn't understand it. Kunti Mata is thinking of this in Bhagavatam and she's mesmerized by it. And when Mother Yashoda saw this, she became very, very sad. She thought, this poor boy is so afraid of me. Why? Because of the stick. So she said, let me place my stick down. If you go and see, if you later do Damodara, light up, go closely to the deity and you see just next to Mother Yashoda, the stick is there, right? If you can't see the stick, please don't push the flowers. It's there, okay? But it is there. So the stick is there. And so Mother Yashoda puts it down. And she puts the stick down. And the moment she puts the stick down, then she says, Krishna, I'm not going to punish you with the stick. I'm going to tie you. So Krishna very obediently stands still. He stands still. Yogis are running after Krishna, but they cannot catch him. But here he's still. He's still because of his devotee. And so Mother Yashoda takes rope from the house. She brings it around the belly of Krishna. Krishna is not obese. He's not very fat. But he's not very thin either. Little bit of stomach. Takes the string, ties it, tries to tie it around his belly. But to her shock, it is 2 inches short. She takes more rope and tries to tie him. It is still 2 inches short. She takes all the rope available in the house. It is still 2 inches short. Now the gopis are starting to hear about this pastime and they start coming out. They come into the house and they are watching and smiling. They also bring some rope. Now Mother Yashoda has rope enough to tie many, many people. But she's still trying to tie Krishna, who is very little, and she cannot tie him. For the 3rd time that day, Mother Yashoda is very tired. And she tells Krishna, Krishna, I cannot bind you. Can you just allow me to tie you at least? And when Krishna hears that plea, that surrender, he then allows himself to be bound. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who cannot be bound by any yogi, any mystic, any impersonalist, he can be bound by a pure devotee. And so Mother Yashoda bound Krishna. But the rope that she tied, the 2 inches, Jiva Goswami, Shukadev Goswami, all the Goswamis tell us, these 2 inches, they represent 2 very important ingredients of devotional service. That's all we need for our devotional service to be successful. One is our effort. There must be effort. You came for the program, that's effort. Are we chanting for Krishna? That is our effort. Are we doing any activity for Krishna? That is our effort. The second is not just effort. It is actually the mercy of Krishna. Very important. Very, very important. Remember one thing. In Bhagavatam, when you put in effort, it is granatascha swachestitaha. But if you don't put in effort for Krishna, then it becomes parishyam. When it is parishyam, it is like foam coming out from the mouth. In the material world, when we are working very hard without Krishna, laboring like the materialists, then Bhagavatam tells us foam is coming out from our mouth. And the effort of all that is wasted, because that also goes with us at the point of death. But if effort is directed to bhakti, then that effort will continue even after death. Please remember that. That is the difference. The materialist is also working, the devotee is also working, but one is working under Krishna consciousness, the other is working under his own consciousness. He will not get anything from the fruits of his labor except more karma. He will be subject to guna, he'll be subject to karma, and he'll be subject to kala. But the devotee is free of guna, free of karma, and kala cannot touch him. It cannot touch his devotional service. So therefore, the two ropes, the endeavor is very important. And the second thing is, once there is sincere endeavor, then Krishna's mercy will come. That is the second inch of the rope. Now remember the other thing that's important. We cannot blackmail Krishna. We cannot say, Krishna, I put in 8 hours of work today, therefore you must give 8 hours worth of mercy. It doesn't work that way. Krishna's mercy can come if he wants to. That is why his mercy is known as causeless mercy. Causeless mercy means there is no cause for the mercy. The mercy can come as and when he wants. So don't think that we can bind Krishna with our endeavor. Endeavor attracts him, but he decides to be bound. There's a difference. It attracts him, but he decides to be bound. That's the point. So Mother Yashoda finally bound Krishna to the motor, and she left because she was very happy. She could do her Diwali activities and she could do other things to please Krishna. But Krishna had one last pastime left in this pastime. He thought, now Mother Yashoda has become very happy. Now it is my turn to make another devotee happy. I must now do something else. And so he started crawling. As he started crawling, the motor, which was vertical, turned horizontal, and he started rolling behind him. And he started moving towards two very huge trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, known as Yamal Arjuna trees, very old and very big. As he went through, he was a little boy, he could go through it. But the motor was big, it got stuck. But Krishna is Krishna. With a little push, the trees came down, crashing. And as they crashed, instead, in their place, there were two beautiful, effulgent beings. They were like devatas actually. And so Krishna turned to them and he asked them an important question. Why are both of you the trees? What is your history? Now Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, of course Krishna knew the history of the trees. But if he did not ask for that, we would never get to know the history. So that's why he's asking. So now we get to hear. The two trees, who are the two boys, they were very beautiful and effulgent. They said that we are the sons of Kuvera. Our names are, what are their names? Manigriva? Sorry? Nalakuvera and Manigriva. Now Nalakuvera and Manigriva, they tell their history. They say that long time ago, we were actually very beautiful, we were endowed with so much of qualifications, but we were supposed to use them for the glorification of Krishna. Instead of doing that, because we were the sons of Kuvera, and Kuvera is super rich, right? We had nothing to do. So we just indulged ourselves in a life of sense gratification. One day we were in the lake, right? And in that lake at the foothills of the Himalayas, in that beautiful lake as we were bathing, we had some damsels also who were bathing with us. We were completely intoxicated. And then Narada Muni, a wonderful devotee, pure devotee, passed by. The ladies saw this sadhu coming. They put on clothes, they came out and gave respect. But both of us came out without any clothes. We were so drunk and inebriated, we were not in our senses. We had no respect for Narada Muni, and we just stood before him, drunken. Narada Muni looked at us, but instead of becoming angry, he became compassionate. And he asked a very important question. What is the use of your body if it cannot be used for Krishna? To whom does this body belong to? Does it belong to you? Does it belong to the earth? Does it belong to the elements? Or does it ultimately belong to the Creator? If it belongs to the Creator, it must be used for the Creator. And you two boys have no need for clothes, it seems. And you have no use for your body, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, I curse you. And Narada Muni cursed them. He said that because you have no value for human life, better you become trees. And since you don't like to wear clothes, trees don't have clothes, perfect fit. You just become trees. And that way you stay. Now these two boys, they came to their senses even though they were very inebriated. And they said, Narada, please don't curse us to become that. Give us an opportunity to come out of it at least. We have offended you, no doubt, and we are feeling very, very repentant. And Narada became very compassionate. He said that my curse may appear to be a curse, but my desire is to elevate your consciousness. And so Narada prayed to Krishna there. He said, Krishna, somehow or another, elevate the consciousness of these children. Make sure that at some point of time, you give them their darshan. That is my prayer. Let them become trees, but you must give them darshan. Then they will be delivered. Now Krishna remembers that prayer by Narada millions of years ago. And now Krishna tells the two boys that I am here today to deliver you, not because of who you are. Frankly, I have nothing to do with you and you have nothing to do with me. But because my dear devotee, in Bhagavatam, Narada is described in that shloka as Priyatamo, Narada Priyatamo, Devarishi Priyatamo. That means for Krishna, Narada is very dear, very dear. Because Narada prayed for you, even though it was millions of years ago, it doesn't matter. I remembered that prayer, I've clocked that prayer. And therefore, his prayer for you, it is my duty to fulfill that prayer. Because the prayer and wishes and desire of a pure devotee must never go unfulfilled. This is Krishna's vow. This is Krishna's vow. And therefore Krishna delivered these two boys, not on the strength of who they were, but because of the mercy of a devotee who prayed for them. We are all here today, Prabhu's Matajis, because of some devotee who prayed for us. Some devotee gave us Krishna book. Some devotee spoke to us about Krishna. And that devotee must have prayed to Krishna that please make this person a devotee. And Krishna heard. And because he heard that person, that is why we are here today. Don't think for a moment that you are here based on your own endeavor. We are here because of the mercy of a devotee who prayed for us. That is why we are here. And therefore, because of the prayer of Narada, these two boys became delivered. And thus ends the pastime. It's a beautiful pastime and it has so much of meaning. But the most important point that you can take away from this pastime is that endeavor for Krishna is very important. You see Yashoda Mata endeavoring, you see the monkeys endeavoring, you see Narada Muni also endeavoring, because he endeavored to transform the boys into Krishna conscious devotees. So endeavor is a constant theme in Damodar Leela. Another constant theme in Damodar Leela is relationships. If you see here, Krishna is reciprocating with so many different levels of relationships. He reciprocates with his mother. He reciprocated with the Vanaras. He reciprocated with Nalakuvera and Manigriva. He also reciprocated with Narada. Even though Narada isn't physically in the picture, his prayer is the remembrance of Krishna. And the last point that's very important is that Krishna is the most powerful personality in all the three worlds and beyond. But he can be bound by love of his devotee. Therefore, it was not the rope that actually bound Krishna. Please remember that. It was actually Mother Yashoda's love for him that bound Krishna. Very important. Mother Yashoda's love. And the Vanaras, their love for Krishna as Lord Ram also bound Krishna. Because of their love and service, Lord Ram became bound by their rope. And years later, that love came to fructification in Vrindavan Dham. And the last rope that is present in the pastime is the rope that Narada Muni tied around Krishna when he prayed for Nalakuvera and Manigriva. So that's why actually in this pastime you may physically see one rope. But actually in this pastime there are three ropes. The first rope is very visible. There is a rope that is deeper, the rope between Lord Ram and the Vanaras. And finally there's a rope that goes even deeper, the rope of prayer that Narada prayed for the two helpless boys who are in so much of material illusion. So when we see living entities disturbed, when we see living entities not being able to concentrate on Krishna, when they are very distracted by so many things, we shouldn't become angry or upset with them. Narada prayed for them, and that's what we should do. Because once upon a time, we were also in that position. But someone was kind enough not to judge us. someone who's kind enough to remember us in goodwill and prayed for us. And that is why we're here today. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudev ki, Yathai Gaura Premanande. So this is the best way to celebrate housewarming actually. And now we will do it by lighting the lamps so that we can actually offer them to Lord Damodara. Are we ready, Prabhu? So we request everyone, if you know the song, then please sing it. If you don't, maybe you can try to follow it. I'm not sure if Punit Prabhu you have shared it with your guest. Maybe you have. You have printouts? Okay, very good. Finally, someone is doing it old school. Nowadays, nobody does printouts, right? Everybody just sends it WhatsApp. So let's chant. Please come forward. Please do Achaman. And after doing Achaman, please light the lamps and offer it to the Lord. When you offer it, remember this beautiful pastime and pray to Krishna that somehow or another we be engaged always in his loving devotional service. Shamkun Prabhu, any realizations, any thoughts from you? I would like to hear. Yes. Prabhu's Matajis, can we be quiet for a while? Haribol. Haribol. I'd like to hear Shamkun Prabhu. Never mind, we can. I know.
Thank you, Devakinandan Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, wonderful realization. So, I was thinking, right, sometimes people ask, why do we chant this Damodara Shtakam for the whole month, right? There are so many bhajans, so many Vaishnava bhajans.
Yes.
So, what makes this particular bhajan or, is so special, right?
Yes.
So, Rupa Goswami mentions when he defines the bhakti, he says that bhakti, one of the qualities of bhakti is Sudurlabha, means it's very, very rare. Now, why it is rare, he also explains in the next line. He says that because it is Sri Krishna Akarshani, because bhakti attracts Krishna. So, if you look at it, if anything we get attracted, I get bound to that, right? Whether it's a house or the car or whatever it is. So, for Krishna is also not different. Because he is attracted to bhakti, he gets bound.
Yes.
So, you can see in this pastime, because of bhakti, he is bound by his mother. And this is not the first time he was bound. He was bound by even Radharani because he was late for an autumn festival.
Yes.
Even Brahma Vimo and Leela, when he expanded his calves, he was bound in every house. So Krishna likes to get bound because of the pure love, right? So this particular pastime or this particular bhajan is so special. And this is a month of Kartik, it's a month of Srimati Radharani. We chant this bhajan all the time. That's why this actually bhajan is a kind of a personification of bhakti.
Jai.
And the second point I wanted to share is, in this world, if I had to remove the binding of somebody, I have to be free first, right? Unless I'm unbound, I cannot remove the binding of others, right? But the greatest binding in this world is the binding of the material, the Maya or the material world. And in this pastime, it's very interesting when Satyavat Muni is explaining, Krishna is bound and he is trying to unbound two sons of Kuvera. So that makes it very special. So Krishna is above all of us because he's personally bound here, but still he is unbinding others, So in this month of Kartik, special Kartik, if we can really pray and to Lord Krishna, Lord Damodar, that I'm bound with so many things in this world, but please give me a mercy so that, at least unbind a little bit so that I can make the progress. So that's what I want to share.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Prabhu. Haribo. We hope to hear and we hope to see you in Singapore more often, Prabhuji. That would be really nice. Yeah, no, I'll be happy also. So I want to invite Shamkun Prabhu as the first person to please come and light the lamps. You are our guest of honor, so please come forward, Prabhuji. Let's come. Let's sing now. Namamishwaram Sachidanandalupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamana नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भजमानं यशोदाभियोलुकलर्धवमानं परामृष्टमाद्यं तत्पोदुत्य गोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रः युग्मं विजन्तं पराम्बोजः युग्मे न सातं नेत्रम् मुहुस्वासकम्पा त्रिरेखाककण्ठा स्थितदैवं दामोदरं भक्तिभारम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुन्दे स्वघोषं निमार्जन् तमख्यापयन्तम् कदीशितानि शुभकैजितापं पुनः प्रेमहतस्तं सखाविति वन्दे वरं देवः मोक्षं न मोक्षपदिं न चान्यं मृणेऽहं परिशरपीह इदं देव पूर्णात् गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्या निरास्तां विमन्ये इदं ते मुखाम्बोजं मत्यन्तनीलै वृतं कुन्तलैस्ते दरथैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरतादरं मे मनस्या विरास्ताम् अलं लक्ष्यलाभे नमो देवः दामोदरानन्तविष्णु प्रसीदा प्रभो कृपा दृष्टि विषयाति दिनं बतामि दक्षिदशया कुबेरात्मजौबद्धः मुख्यैव याद्वा त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ नमो शीघ्रहो मे स्थितमोदरे प्रेम भक्ति की तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ नमो शीघ्रहो मे स्थितमोदरे नमस्ते स्तुधाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय तविश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Bol Krishna Hare Krishna 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 I can't hear you. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Close the door, Prabhu. दामोदर जी की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, वृंदावन भूमि धाम की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। Thank you, Pune Prabhu, Swati Mataji and family for having us over for the program. And thank you very much to all the devotees for joining us for the Damodar program. Please remember the good points that were raised in the discussion today. Krishna is very attracted to bhakti, as Shamakun Prabhu rightly pointed out to us. And bhakti is actually the binding force for all of us. Our relationships will grow as long as bhakti is in the center and Krishna is in the center. The moment Krishna is not in the center, it becomes very difficult. And I think it's good for Damodar programs, wherever we are, that we invite new persons. And it's so nice that you've invited many of your friends. So those who are here for the first time for this program, we welcome you. And we thank you for joining us today. Prabhu has nicely put Krishna book and Bhagavad Gitas here. And I leave it to him now to do the book distribution. Because I think it's always good to take a book back with you. All these beautiful pastimes that we speak about, they are found in Krishna book. It's so easy to read. Everybody can read them. Children read them, adults can read them. You can read them even together. And in that way, our understanding of Krishna will not be based on philosophical speculation, but rather it will be centered in Shastra. That is very important. So thank you very much again. I have 3 programs today. 3 programs. I'm on a time, Prabhu. I'm on a time clock. So it'll be just nice for me now, for me to get ready for the next program, which is just in a few hours' time. And then I have another one in the evening also. So, and it's all going to be different sets of devotees. So I'm keeping it very timely. 10:15, 11:30. Now it's already 11:36. So I would suggest that everyone has prasadam and be very happy in your devotional service. And I look forward to having more of your association. Hare Krishna. Vivek Prabhu, your question is very late in the day. Maybe we can take it offline. Yeah, anyway, we're coming to your house, right? Okay, good. Then we'll take it up from there also. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri